It was just another rotation on the fringe mining planet of Galma. 4. The winds howled endlessly across the red plains, and dust storms rolled in without mercy. For Elias Cade, a former Earth mechanic turned scrap salvager, this dusty hellhole was the perfect place to disappear. He lived alone in a makeshift shack cobbled together from the ruins of an old survey pod. He wasn't running from anything exactly, just from the disappointment of a life that hadn't gone the way he wanted. War veterans like him were a credit a dozen these days. No job offers, no medals, just silence. That afternoon, as he dug through the rusting wreckage of a derelict transport, Elias spotted something odd. A figure stumbling through the haze of a dust storm, wrapped in tattered thermal cloth and clearly struggling. Whoever it was, they weren't local, too clean, too refined in movement. He ran toward her. She collapsed just a few meters from him. Elias knelt beside her, pulling the cloth from her face. A young woman, barely in her 30s, with sharp violet eyes and a faint shimmer to her skin. She looked exhausted, her breathing labored. "You all right?" he asked, offering water from his pack. She drank like she hadn't had anything in days. "Where's your ship?" he asked. "Gone," she whispered hoarsely. "Shot down. I didn't think anyone lived here." He raised an eyebrow. "Most people don't. Why are you here then?" Elias smirked. "Bad luck." "You?" She hesitated. "Same." Elias didn't press. He'd learned that people on the edges of the galaxy often had stories they weren't ready to share. Middle. He brought her back to his shack, gave her some nutrient paste and a place to rest. She introduced herself as Era, avoiding a surname. Over the next few days, she recovered slowly. Elias noticed how she examined his equipment with an oddly practiced eye, fixing his busted vapor unit like a pro and even reprogramming one of his helper drones to sort scrap faster. "You a technician?" Elias asked one morning as she tuned a broken emitter. "I've picked up a few things," she replied with a sly smile. He didn't push it. They developed an easy routine. She helped him work the scrapyards, and in return he shared food, shelter, and silence when she needed it. The strange thing was, she wasn't like other castaways he'd met. She was calm, poised, and when she looked at the stars at night, it was as if she owned them. Still, Elias didn't think too much of it. They were just two survivors on a forgotten rock. One evening, they sat around a makeshift fire, drinking synthesized tea brewed from local flora. "You could leave," he said, staring at the fire. "Once you're strong enough." "I could," she said. "But I don't want to. Not yet." "Why?" She looked at him, her face softened by the flickering light. "Because no one's helped me without wanting something in return." "Not until you." Elias grunted. "Well, maybe I'm too tired to ask for anything." They both laughed. That night, she slept soundly for the first time. The truth revealed. 3 weeks after Era's arrival, Elias awoke to the sound of a low-frequency hum. He stepped outside and saw a ship descending from the clouds, sleek, polished, and unmistakably royal class. He backed away slowly. Era emerged from the shack, already dressed in a black uniform with an insignia he didn't recognize, but he felt the authority radiating off it. The ship landed gently. From it emerged a cadre of guards in silver armor, followed by an AI proxy drone with a holographic emblem of the Galactic Sovereign Trade Conglomerate. "Lady Erilyn Tyrex Van Tour," the AI said. "We have secured the region. Your safety has been confirmed. Shall we escort you back to the Galaxara?" Elias blinked. "Wait. Lady Erilyn." Era turned to him. "No, Erilyn," and her voice was calm. "I'm sorry, Elias. I never intended to lie." Just needed space. A break. From what exactly? She stepped closer. I'm the executive chairwoman of the GSTC. I own over 70% of all off-world trade across 20 star systems. I'm the richest woman in the known galaxy. Elias nearly fell over. You've been scrapping junk with me for 3 weeks. I wanted to know what life was like without security details, without everyone watching me like I was a god. And you? Her eyes searched his face. You treated me like a person. He stared stunned. I should have told you sooner, she said. But I was afraid you'd treat me differently. He gave a slow, disbelieving laugh. You think I'd know how to treat a galactic billionaire? She stepped closer. You already did. Ending. He watched her go. The guards flanked her as she boarded the ship. Before the hatch closed, she paused. I've arranged a small thank you, she said. Elias shook his head. I don't need anything. She smiled. I know. That's why I want to. With that, the hatch closed, and the ship lifted into the sky. For a week, life returned to the way it was. Dust, metal, and silence. But something had shifted. Then a courier drone arrived, marked with GSTC insignia. It dropped a small crate outside his door and flew off. Inside was a data pad. Personal message from Era. Elias. I've transferred ownership of a private moon to you. It's uninhabited, rich in iridium, and entirely yours. There's also a company credit account for your use. Enough to rebuild your life 10 times over. I'll be orbiting in Sector 19 soon. I hope we meet again, not as a billionaire and a salvager, but as friends. Maybe something more. Era, yes, still Era Lynn. Elias chuckled and set the pad down. He looked up at the stars that night, feeling less alone than he had in years. And somewhere in the black vastness above, the richest woman in the galaxy was watching the same stars, thinking of the man who had helped her without knowing or caring who she was.